So, that's me. I think I can still leave someone in charge to shut this down if you guys want to sit around and look at each other for more time than that. But that's my deal for me. So just, and I started the meeting. So I think we're done at 8. Okay. Unless people want to stick around, I think I can just let Jason take control at that point and shut it down. But so just so you know. All right. Okay. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. It is 7:02. Right. So let me pin Jason to the top and he can bring up a flag. So let's see. There he is. Jason, front and center. There's the flag. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
And
ready.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
to the republic
which it
for which it stands,
One
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice
for all.
Awesomeness. We're such a great patriotic radio club. So now I will unpin Jason. If I can. Let's see more. Where is that? Gosh darn it, how do you do that? It's how do I unpin you, Jason? I forgot. Let's see. I think I just go back to gallery view. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So well, welcome to the meeting. Guys. We have a little bit of a light crowd here tonight, which is understandable. It is summer. It is June. People are doing things, that type of stuff. Tonight's club meeting, I know the one thing that we definitely want to just go over one more time is indeed the field day that's upon us. And before we dive into any of that, I'll see if anyone has anything else that they think we need to touch base on. Jason, is there anything else you wanted to touch base on this evening?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think is everybody cool, or does somebody else have anything else that we want to touch base on? I figured we could make this meeting pretty short and sweet. Just get down to the brass tacks about what's coming up. And so, but if anybody has anything else that they want to,
I'll raise my hand on that one, Frank.
Okay, Bruce, what's your subject matter? And I'll let you know when we're going to do it, before or after the field day talk.
Well, the field day is number one, of course.
Okay.
But I would like to know if there's anything we can do to make the repeater less staticky. It's been that way for over a year. And are our hands tied or something? We just can't fix it? Or I'll volunteer to go up on the hill with my equipment, but it seems like it's really aggravating because the repeater is so staticky, and it used to be nice and clean. But that could be after field day if you want to talk about it.
I spoke to Kevin today about that. He's talking to the owner of the field of the repeater unit. And he's actually brought it up several times, and it appears we're going to get some action, and they're going to go up and work on it. But it's Kevin's been trying for the last 3 months, quite frankly, and have difficulty. And he met with him today, and I'm hopeful we'll see some results shortly.
Super duper. Thank you, Don, for that quick update. I appreciate it.
And there's also talk of, right now, of course, somebody else owns that repeater, right? That's technically not a club owned repeater. That's a repeater that's owned by somebody who's been gracious enough to let us use it as the club repeater.
And the site has very limited access.
Right. So there's talks, though. Maybe somebody else has more details on this. I'm hazy on it, but there is some talks about, possibly being able to have an actual club owned repeater somewhere in the neighborhood of the existing repeater at some point in time, where it would actually be our possession and our repeater, and we would be able to, go up and access it as we see fit. So that's in the box. Amongst whom or how, I'm not really sure. If Kevin were here, he could expound upon that a little bit more.
I was wondering, I don't want to talk about this to preempt field day, but I was wondering if our club could just buy that whole repeater and move it so that we do have access. I guess it's the access is the problem.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could just buy the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel, license, everything, put some,
I think,
and then move it to an open place where we can work on it freely.
Yeah, I know Brian's not here tonight, KXP, but I know he's working on another site nearby our current site. And whether or not we get the repeater to take it or we just go out and buy a new repeater. I mean, Kenwood has some really nice repeaters that are fairly reasonably priced and work very well. They make VHF and UHF repeaters. They even have a controller built in so you can get on the air very quickly. You know, it'll do the normal stuff. And then you can add an external controller later. But the thing is, we can get up there pretty quickly. And, you know, if we get, once they get the site, I think the issue is they were trying to secure the site.
Yes.
Because there was no doors, there was a lot of issues. And they're trying to make sure the site is secure before we can do anything.
I can speak to this a little bit. So I met the owner last year. This is the owner of the 1952 Army radio relay station up on Mount Vaca. Him and I have since grown a relationship, and he's made me the project manager. So me and a handful of other guys have been doing a lot of work, all volunteer, using our own dollars and sweat hours. And the idea is this tower is absolutely in really bad shape. There's been multiple repairs as far as welding doors, knobs, locks. All of it gets cut, pried open, ripped open. It's very challenging to get this site secured because it wasn't for about 15 years, and there was a pot grow house operation in it, and there's graffiti and just all sorts of craziness. But the idea would be this is the perfect location. Matter of fact, it is the highest point on Mount Vaca at almost 3,000 feet. When you stand on the tower, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, it's amazing. Wow. But there's lots of work and kind of money to be spent. And so with this team of volunteers, we're trying to turn it into something, at which point we can then have talks with the owner about utilities and payments, et cetera, et cetera. So right now we're in someone's personal vault where VVR lives. It's in a personal vault. There's other commercial equipment in there. And so only one or maybe two people get to go in that vault where our repeater lives. And it's not necessarily hard to get to. It's just one person needs to go there. And if he doesn't go there, then we don't get our stuff worked on. From what I understand, it's not a parts issue. It's just a labor issue.
It's an access issue.
That's right. So, you know, if you're interested, reach out to me to learn more about this project that we're doing up on the hilltop. It's actually very exciting. I've shot a few videos up there. And it could be really something great once, you know, we get it turned around and then come up with a working relationship with the owner. I believe the owner does want to put commercial gear in there, so that helps to revenue money for the site. You know, because right now there's a PG&E drop. There's a meter, all of that. It's great. There's a well, a 700-foot well, but it needs plumbed. There's a septic tank. It could have a bathroom up there. I mean, the potential is huge.
So, Ralph, you wanted to say something. You got to unmute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm a new member and very happy, but I'm surprised being in Walnut Creek, I can reach your repeater with my 5-watt handy-talkie very easily. And I would imagine if you start moving it around away from that prime site, you may lose myself and others may be able to reach the repeater.
No. When I stand on this tower, I'm looking above our current tower. I mean, it is that amazing.
I was thinking when you're talking to move to a different site.
Yeah, so it's about
it might be a problem with access. So
it's about 2 football fields away. No, we would expand our reach by a couple dog biscuits, some DBs.
Okay, good. Great. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay.
We won't leave you out, Ralph. Don't worry.
I may not be the only one because it's amazing we can reach you anyway as it is with our low power handy talkies over.
Yeah. Now, if anything, the coverage will get better.
Yeah.
And we plan to do internet, and that unlocks all sorts of possibilities once you can connect a site with internet and everything. I mean, that would be also the home of Brian's Fusion repeater with internet.
This all sounds great, man. Hopefully this all comes together. You know, just be patient, right? We'll be patient. We'll do our time, and hopefully it all comes together, because that'll be
great when it gets here.
Yeah. And let's talk about it more and put it out on the table and open this up, because I haven't heard this news before. In the last club I was in, we all had a committee, and we all serviced the repeater, and we volunteered our time and equipment, and the repeater wasn't a mystery. We all worked on it and got it running, and lickety split every problem it had. We fixed it. We had a 2-meter and 440 machine, and it wasn't a hidden type thing. It was out in front in the club, and we all volunteered and made contributions. If we couldn't work on it, we paid a little money to fix it. Those who could work on it did, and we had a working repeater down in the Bay Area, which I was part of the system engineer group. But this one seems to be hidden, out of sight, kind of mysterious, the situation we're in.
Yeah, well, it's because we don't own it, Bruce. It's
a secure location, and the owner of the site does not want to give us access. And right now, it's his repeater. Physical equipment is his. The location is his. So all we can do is go with him or get him to work on it, and that's very limiting. And that's why we're looking to move. This new site looks like it'll be great.
I understand it probably took a lot of work to get the frequency pair coordinated.
We own that, Bruce. That's ours.
Not a problem. We're only talking about 100 feet, 200 feet away. I already said I can take care of re-coordinating. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah,
great. Bruce,
it's our pair. It's our call. Matter of fact, Brian is the what's the term?
Trustee.
So the only thing this gentleman is providing is a location and a PG&E and equipment.
All right, well, let's work on it in the future. Thanks for discussing it.
You bet. And that's a great idea, Bruce. A committee, I think, is definitely well-deserved, bringing it to the club, making it more part of the club. But ultimately, I was surprised how much leadway I've been giving so far with this new owner. And so I've been just treading lightly, and we've been just kind of doing a cleanup crew. You know, a few months ago, it had like asbestos in it, and that needed properly abated. And, you know, the list is long, but here in a little bit, we can turn a corner, have that conversation, you know, to where if people want to donate, because right now I think it probably might need a fence. It doesn't have a fence around it. A fence with some razor wire might be what we need to keep our doors from being beat to heck out with rocks. It's crazy what people are doing up there. But more to come on that. You know, I definitely want to involve the club.
Well, we've got, we got money, so the club can help out.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to have to do this.
Not as much as you may think, Frank.
Well, I know we don't have that much, but we got some.
Yeah, we got some.
We can help a little. And I'm sure the club, club members to have our own repeater and our own thing, we can rally up some bucks. I'm not worried about that.
Well, let's go back to field day, because you have to leave in 45 minutes,
yes.
Frank.
Yes. So let's turn this over to Don for the final update. Don and I were at the location today, surveying, had a wonderful conversation with the gentleman that runs the place, who actually lives on the property. And boy, guys, I tell you, this is a neat location. I think this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be very different, and but a lot of amenities, a lot of good stuff for us out there. So with that, we'll let Don go ahead and take it away.
Okay, guys, I'm going to try to share a screen. I've never done this before on.
Might have to make you a co-host, Don. Here, hold on.
Oh,
Let's see. And you should be good to go now.
okay. I'm trying to find my screen here.
At the bottom of the Zoom thing, there's a share screen button.
I see a share content, and I want to get my. It's been just a busy, crazy day.
Are you on an iPad or a computer?
On an iPad.
That might be different. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
It's a little green button that says share screen on the bottom.
I'm there with that. And if I go to share screen and then I push my PowerPoint, will that work?
It should.
Okay, here we go. If I lose you guys, I'll come back. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see here. If not, what I will simply do is read stuff to you, but I really want to show it to you.
Well,
And
if you could email me the PowerPoint presentation, I can definitely pull it up.
Okay. Stand by. If I lose you, I'll be right back.
It's no problem. So in the meantime, we'll have Bert tell us a joke. So, all right, Bert, N6 EFR, you are up. Let's have a
Is
joke.
this on? Can you see the screen?
No.
No. Okay. Then let me send it.
I had my chance, but I missed it.
Wait, Willow.
All right. That was a lame joke.
Sorry.
Let's see. Who else?
Yes, it was.
Jason, I'm going to need your email address. Just 1 second here. Here it goes. What's your email address, Jason?
It is Jason dot
Hold on. K?
Yeah, 6FAK. It's my call.
That's
Jason.K6FAK at Gmail.
Okay, I just sent it. And you already have my Excel spreadsheet, right?
I got it.
Yeah, you sent that to the club.
I did. Okay.
Yeah,
I sent it to the officers.
I've got it too, Don. So if I got to pull that up, I can.
Okay. So let me get back here onto Zoom. And if you could bring that up, Jason.
Yeah, I'm hitting refresh. It's somewhere in the ether.
It's just been a really crazy busy day, and I got everything put together, but
Well, how many of you guys have driven down to the armory and checked it out just on your own? Anybody else besides I have, and Don has, and Frank has? Okay, Ed did. Who else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I've been there.
Doug, Chris,
I passed by it.
I've actually seen their whole interior presentation. It's really nice in there.
Kellen. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool museum. They were working on an old BMW with a sidecar.
Oh, motorcycle. Okay.
Yeah. When we were there, they're kind of hard to not get distracted, but Don kept me on track. I was like, "Oh, that's a beer." I was like, "Oh, is that a real half track?" Don's like, "Okay, we're not here to play."
All right. Jason, I'm starting to see a presentation.
Okay, here you go, guys. This is the start. I'm going to give you just a few slides here, and then I'll give you the detail of who's doing what so far. So our field day is set up to start in terms of for setup only, 12 noon on Friday, June 25th. And then until Saturday, just before 11. At 11 o'clock on Saturday, our activities begin. We'll operate from 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 26th, through 11 a.m. on Sunday, the 27th. Teardown will be at 11 o'clock and hope to be out of there by 3 or 4 o'clock or before on Sunday. Next slide, Jason.
Okay.
The objective of Field Day is for us to work as many stations as possible on the following bands. You can see there 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. And then all bands 50 megahertz and above. And we have some folks that are actually going to be doing, I think, even 900 megahertz. We're another objective of Field Day, and I'm taking this from the ARRL objectives. There was a ton of stuff to read, and I'm still not through. To learn to operate in abnormal situations in less than optimal conditions. That's part of our objective of Field Day. And we want to meet the challenges of emergency preparedness. We get 100 points, bonus points for that. I'll be going over that in a bit. We want to acquaint the public with the capabilities of amateur radio. There's 100 bonus points just for that alone. And I've got a lot of stuff prepared for that. Next slide. Now, the activities and tasks, many of you have already volunteered. And so we're going to need people to help in the tasks that are here. Food, Frank is the chief chef. I know there's other volunteers, and I've got it on my spreadsheet, that are offering to help cook. And I'm going to let Frank give us an update on the food aspect of what's going on. Matter of fact, you want to do that, Frank, now?
Yeah, let's just cover that now. So I know we have the volunteers. Thank you very much. I will reach out to you guys. I would like to possibly, hopefully, do a little Zoom meeting like this. Maybe the beginning of the week, and just get our heads on straight as far as who's going to be providing what. Remember, and it's going to be easier if we, all take we'll figure out all the food and everything that we're going to get, and we'll assign, okay, you get this stuff, you get this stuff, you get this stuff. Remember, the club is going to pay for all the food. So if it's okay, then you guys would just buy the things that we're going to assign to each other. We'll buy those items, bring your receipt to Field Day, put it in an envelope, seal it up, put your call sign and the address you'd like that check sent to for reimbursement. Okay. Get those envelopes to me. When you show up, I will give them to our treasurer. Our treasurer will reimburse everybody for the food. Now, the other thing, and we'll talk about ice chests, we'll talk about waters, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff there. Canopies, we're going to need a couple of canopies for the food area. There's a nice area with a bunch of picnic tables that if we had a couple canopies there, it'd be nice to, people could eat, in a little bit of shade. The nice thing too is when we were down there and we were rummaging through the museum, we stumbled across a pretty large commercial grade sort of propane grill that takes 2 propane tanks, and it's pretty big. And we asked Jeff, hey, can we, what's the deal on this? He goes, oh, that's what I use for all of our events. And we said, can we use that? He says, bring your own propane. We're like, okay. So the good news is there's a great grill that'll be, that's already there, which was my main concern. And that's going to be the main grill for, burgers, dogs, brats, tri-tips, whatever it is that we're doing. I know Art, BQX is going to bring, more than likely will bring a smaller propane a grill with a griddle. I think THN had something in mind for that as well. So I think we're completely covered on, cooking apparatuses and things like that. So I will coordinate with everybody. I'll go through Don's spreadsheet, make sure everybody is who said that they could come. I will send out some sort of message to everyone and try to rally us together on some sort of Zoom call early this week, Monday or Tuesday at the latest, probably Monday, if it's okay with everyone. And we will have this discussion in great detail and make sure who's bringing what, look at some checklists and make sure we're really prepared to go out there and serve everybody some food. So it's going to be cool. We're going to be serving food. Saturday is going to be food all day, man. There's going to be a lot of food flying out there. There's going to be, Don will get into this next. He's going to get into the fact he's trying to get the Boy Scouts out there and just a bunch of, we'll probably have a pretty decent turnout. So we're going to be flipping a lot of burgers and cooking a lot of dogs, guys. And the help that you guys are providing in the kitchen and in the galley is very, very appreciated, because it's going to take a handful of us to, especially on Saturday. Saturday's going to be a really busy food day. So I really appreciate.
What are what are you making for the meals, but what are the meals a member could expect to be there? Like, in other words, there's Saturday morning. Is that covered or covered by personal?
Saturday morning, you'll have a mix of bacon and eggs, and some sort of.
Okay. So provided.
Yeah. And then, or there will also be, donuts, pastries,
sure, that
type of thing on Saturday. So that'll be Saturday morning. Then, and that's, you can thank Art for that. And then there'll be, throughout the day, we'll just have knickknacks out there, some fruit, some, granola bars, things like that. So, just stuff you can knick-knack on. Always plenty of water we'll have. Then lunchtime, it's going to be, primary lunch is going to be, because we're going to have visitors and stuff and giving away food. That's going to be your typical burgers and dogs. We'll probably do some brats. I'll have tons of chips, the small chip bags that people, so burgers, dogs, chips, waters, sodas, maybe something like that. Then Saturday evening, we usually do up fairly well. Tri-tip has been the favorite go-to, the past several field days. We'll probably just stick with that. So
and that's typically for members, right?
It is for members. However, it's typically for members. Thank you, Jason. But it's okay. Like, if there's like stragglers that are there, sure, and they're so really cool. Absolutely.
But don't get on the radio and tell everyone.
No. Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah, so it'll be a tri-tip dinner. We'll have something, maybe some corn or potatoes. We've done potatoes, that type of a thing. Stuff that can take the heat well while we're out there. Something rustic. I don't know that we're going to do a salad. I don't. Maybe we do, but in my mind, I'd be like, that's going to be kind of a hard to deal with. But it'll be a nice dinner. We usually have just a really nice, enjoyable dinner, and then there will always be some sort of dessert. We typically have pie or something like that. So we've got a nice dessert. So dinner's usually great on Saturday evening. Sunday, be more of the same. We'll probably get some pancakes, something like that, pancake breakfast, that type of thing. I'm sure there'll be some eggs and bacon again for the diabetics, et cetera. And that's it. That's kind of what you can expect from your.
So I heard 4 hot meals and snacks. Can we contribute at all as an individual member to the pot?
Anything you guys want to bring. Yeah. If you just feel like, hey, I got some stuff, some great food.
Well, how about just cash? I was actually referring to cash.
Cash?
Yeah, cash.
You know what? We could put a tip jar out there. And if people are willing to, donate something, that's fine. We can put it back into the club.
Because 4 hot meals, that's serious.
It's good, but you know what, man? I tell you, I don't want that. I don't want you to feel like that's that important to us, because we as a club, one of the things that we started doing, it's been the 3rd or 4th year now, I can't remember, but we really, we really felt like this is one of the fun. Remember that our club's all about having fun, so. This is one of the fun things that we do every year. It's kind of the big event of the year for us. And we just felt like providing the food is just a very cool club thing to do. So I'll put something out there if you feel so inclined, but please don't feel pressured in any way whatsoever. So with that, I think I'm done with that update, Don. You can go from there.
Thank you, Frank. Great job. And I know there's a list of volunteers and those the board has that list for those of you that have volunteered. And if you didn't volunteer, let me know and I'll add you to the list. Logging software is going to be critical so that we can report what we've done. So Brian is going to give us a very brief, I didn't give him a lot of notice, but I knew he was working on it. So Brian will give us a very brief update on the logging software. We have a couple of weeks to work through the details. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Let's see. I'm not on mute. Okay. I'm going to share my screen for a second. Great. Thank you. Okay. This is what their logging software looks like. It'll be licensed to the club, and we can use as many people as we want within 1,000-mile circle. A 1,000-foot circle. So we can all use it with one license, which is only $9. Not a bad deal. I'm going to try to set it up. Are there people who can bring a PC with them, a laptop? Because what I like to do is set it up so that we can use a common database. And this way we'll know about repeats and all that stuff, and it'll make things go a little better. If not, we can run these as individual units on each person's individual PC. We can install the software. It's not that big. I can put it on a flash drive and install it on Friday or Saturday morning, and then you just use it. But if you see, most of the stuff is here. All the sections and all the stuff kind of comes through, and it's pretty easy. Matter of fact, it's already set up with all our information. It'll tell you duplicates. Here we have W6 VVR USA. We'll give our exact lat and long, but the CQ zone, the ITU zone, the class we're operating under, which is extra, and the ALR section, which is East Bay. So, and then we'll have individual operators can put their stuff on their system. So just in case there's a question, we can get back and say, hey, what did you do here or whatever.
Now, one thing, I'm going to bring a computer, but it's a Macintosh. So this software is only for Windows-based. And I'm guessing others might also be on a Mac or an iPad or a cellular device. So, Brian, I saw it there in the file. Most can, but I plan to give you my ADIF file. And then that'll just drop in there. So what I'm getting at is, if someone is familiar with the logging software that they already have and use, I would assume they could just become familiar with how to make that ADF file, which is fairly simple, and then we'll just drop it into this piece of software as our master list.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need some training on that? Should we have a Zoom meeting prior to the field day to show everybody how that works?
Actually, the guy has a video on his site, so we can actually send out to everybody, here, just watch the video.
Yeah, it's okay. Logging software is kind of personal, right? Again, it depends what device you're going to bring. So that's all over the map. And then there's so much resources from exactly what Brian said, the people that make it, from people that using it on YouTube and reviewers. I mean, if everybody would just take a personal homework assignment to either learn this, which is N3FJP, or become proficient at the logging software they're currently using. And what's important is whatever software you choose, it needs to have a contest mode. For example, Log4OM is a great piece of software, but it does not have a contest window. It had no ability to contest.
Yeah, see, this thing is actually, the one I got is actually set up for field day. So it has all the field day rules in there.
Correct. So most of your logging software, when you open up a new contest, it asks you from a drop-down of 100 drop-downs. It says, what contest is this? And then you pick, in this case, ARRL's field day, and then it pre-populates. So then it gives you the ability to put in your class, category, and section. So in other words, if we have 10 stations, we'd be a 10. And more than likely, we'll be an alpha, and then we're in East Bay.
Yeah, so we can help everybody set up their software at the beginning, and then we'll go from there.
Well, maybe that ought to be on our agenda. Those that are there Friday, we can show those guys Friday. And then the people that are showing up on Saturday, that'll be less people to have to train. So that'd be my suggestion.
My only opposition to that is, if everyone remembers the last couple field days we've been to, Friday's a work day. Friday is nonstop parking and setting up and, antenna building. And quite honestly, I don't think there's time. Saturday morning, it's going to be more setup, breakfast, socialize, contest at 11. So we can try to help and coach people, but
No, Saturday morning at 11 is contest.
correct. But 11 will come quick. And what I'm getting at is, from previous, unless we somehow nail this out of the park and we're all sitting on our butts with nothing to do, it's going to be extremely challenging to learn a logging program in the field.
Well, then we all need to watch that video and
Yes.
Or bring one you're familiar with that has all the setup for field day.
Yes. Everyone can take that personal action item. And if you can't and you don't have a digital device, we'll have paper, right? Is someone bringing paper?
Yeah, we can always do that.
Okay. Well, Brian, since you're going to do bring the logging software, do you have a sheet of paper that emulates what goes in the log so we can all use it?
I can create one.
ARL has that file already. It just needs printing.
Okay. Will they have a spreadsheet?
Yeah, it's like a pre-populated PDF.
Okay, great. That'll be perfect. I can just make a bunch of copies of that, and since I'm going to be going home each night, if we need more for Sunday, I can always run home and print some more out.
Okay.
Hey, I'm looking at this N3 FPGA software as well. If I download it now, do you guys have the key that I could run on field day, just so I can get used to it?
We will have it on field day. Yes.
The key itself. So if I
the
already
password,
install it,
the password, but you
Okay.
can play with it and you can make up to 30 entries.
okay, perfect. I'll
So
get
play with it
myself
and then
on
start
top of
over.
that one.
Yeah. You can download it and go from there. Yeah, that's great because if people have laptops, that'll be great.
And big picture, logging, guys, is huge. If you're not already doing it, I highly encourage it, because logging and then working with Logbook of the World is how you actually affirm and you qualify for states, countries, awards. Without entering Logbook of the World from your personal logging software, no one will ever know, right? If you're interested in contesting or getting some kind of award, that is the only way to do it. It's a lot of fun.
My concern is getting the award for the club, and so whatever we can do to get the awards for the club, because it, as you'll see a little bit in a few minutes, we're going to run out of time if I don't get back here. But it's important. We're doing this for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to go over that in a moment. Can we stop at this point and say that we're all going to learn this? And Brian, thank you, and Jason, thank you. And could you bring up my last slide, Jason?
Yes.
I got to find out why I couldn't do it here. Okay. So we got logging software addressed. Safety is really critical. I asked Kevin, because he's involved in a lot of construction work and so on, and would be an excellent safety officer. So our El Presidente said he would do it. I'm just going to touch very quickly on some of the issues. Generators and electrical safety. You don't want to start a generator you don't want to fuel a generator while it's running. You've got to be aware of electric power going on. I don't want anybody getting electrocuted and things like that. There's going to be ropes. We're going to try to put ribbons on anything that's cable to tie down poles and like that. We certainly do not want people driving onto the field where all the antennas are. So we have separate parking away from the actual field day area. It's just south. And Frank and I took a look at that parking area. And so I'm going to need people to help, not only with the greeters that Art has agreed to kind of head, but they'll need people to help Art and also to direct people on where to park. So we're not running over antennas and antenna cables. So if you haven't already volunteered, just send me an email and I'll put you on the list. And then all the officers and team leaders will have that. Okay. So then the next thing, of course, is, as Jason mentioned, we're going to be setting up stations and antennas, and we'll all need to work together on that, and volunteers can certainly help there. So if you're there and we're setting up, the earlier you're there, even if you don't spend all day Friday, but if you come Friday, you can eat with us and set up with us at that time, and then come back Saturday morning early prior to startup. This is a 24-hour operation, 11 a.m. Saturday to 11 a.m. on Sunday. If we were setting up when everybody arrived, they gave us an extra 3 hours, but we're not doing it that way. So it's 24 hours. Okay, next slide. There's bonus point premium. I'm seeing some kind of there we go. There's 100%, those that are running on 100% emergency power, 20 transmitters max, we get 100 points. So I'll need to know how many people are running on emergency power.
Isn't that all of us?
Well,
there's no, are they giving us electricity to plug into?
No.
That's all of us.
No, what they call emergency power is not with motor-driven generators.
Yes, it is.
Now there's a separate. Let me get
there's a separate category now for generators.
Yeah,
Don, generators count as emergency power.
That's what I thought.
Hold on here. That says up to 20 transmitters. Bonus stations do not count. Now, hold on a second. I'll get back to you on this. I read somewhere they said that if you're running with motor-driven, petroleum-powered equipment, that doesn't count as emergency power.
No, Don, there's a separate category for battery power.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's called natural power. There you go.
Right. So we've always run emergency power because as long as you're not on a commercial power source, you're good.
Okay. Well, then there's another section that's called natural power, and that's where you get 100 points for, it says, at least 5 QSOs, complete at least 5 QSOs without using power from commercial mains or petroleum-driven generator. That's a separate category for points.
Yeah, that's solar power.
Right. So like last year, Don, your system and my system got us those points.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Then we're getting points for 100 points for setting up for media publicity. I've contacted the Daily Republic. I'm preparing an outline of what we're doing for them, and they're going to send a reporter out there, and we're going to get 100 points, and they're going to actually put an article out in the Daily Republic about what we're doing. There's another 100 points that can be obtained from social media advertising of our event. So if there's somebody that can do that, that would get us another 100 points. So we volunteer for that. Setting up in a public place, which is what we're doing, we get 100 points automatically for the site we selected. And then there's a public information table. If we have a public information table about amateur radio and everything we're doing with the club and so on, we get 100 points. So we need a volunteer for that and to pull some of that information together. Then there's a message. Someone needs to send a message to the ARR section manager or emergency coordinator. And it could be WinLink, or it could be a radiogram or whatever. and we get 100 points for that. Okay, so we'll need someone to volunteer for that. Just let me know. Then there's a message that comes W1AW or K6KPH, a field day message, and we need to receive that message. And I believe there's CW and voice, I'm not sure. And Bob, do you know about that?
Yeah, Bruce and Brian BXP have both copied that message, so they can do that. Okay. And then we get 100 points for an educational activity, and I asked Jason, and he volunteered to give a class on digital communications. So we'll get 100 points for that. And as I said earlier, our safety officer will be Kevin. That's 100 points. And then youth participation is we get 20 points per participant that completes one QSO, a maximum of 100 points. I've invited I called the district manager or district director for the Boy Scouts in this area. And he's putting out the word. As a matter of fact, while this meeting's going on, he's talking to his folks, and they're going to bring young Boy Scouts over to the field day. So you should expect youth, and they have to be 18 or under to get these points. And then I've also invited a county supervisor. We get 100 points for an elected official to come to the meeting and to the event. So those are the things that are going on that hopefully will get us a lot of extra points, in addition to the normal contacts that we're making. Any questions so far? Next slide.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will the youth participants making these QSOs, will they still be operating under the W6 VVR call?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's two parts of this. There's what's called there's a get on the air. It's called GOTA, and I'm going to discuss that in a second. So if you hold your question until I do that, I think I'll have that answered.
Okay.
There's station classes you're going to hear bandied about. A is portable, 3 or more people. Power would be non-commercial, no motor-driven generators, 5 watts or less. Then there's B, Class B, portable, 2 or less people. Power would be the same as A. There's mobile stations operating while in motion. It includes airplanes and boats. I didn't know we could get that. And 5 times the points if the power source is not motor powered. So I suppose we could have someone out in the Susu Bay. Home stations are still allowed because of COVID, using commercial power. And then the Class E home stations, the power limitation of 150 watts. Next slide. And then the last one, which we don't have at this time, emergency operations centers run by the club as opposed to the sheriff's office, for example, like OES. But there are some clubs that, like Benicia, and Bob and I discussed this, they operate at the fire department in Benicia as an emergency operations group. We don't have that. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is what I was talking about. There's a program called Get on the Air, GOTA, and it's for Class A stations. We have to use a different call sign from the club call sign, not W6 VVR. And the participants are as follows. Licensees within the last year, who've gotten their licenses within the last year, inactive licensees that haven't been on for a while, and non-licensed operators would be under the supervision of a licensed operator. And 150 watts maximum power. If QRP 5 watts or less, you get a bonus point of a multiplier of 5. And the points you get is 20 QSOs are 20 points, a maximum of 100 points. and maximum for all go to operators. If we got, we could get as many as 500 points. I'm not going to go into a lot of the details there, but the point is, number one, we don't use the club call sign for these folks, but we still get points for them operating. I think that's the last slide in this category. Could you, is there one more, Jason?
No, that's it.
Okay. We're running out of time, and I did want to show the list.
We're okay. Don't worry. I got the go ahead. We're fine.
I can always hold it up too, Frank. You just make me the host, and you can disappear.
No, we're good. Keep going.
Okay, Jason, if you could put up the spreadsheet, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. 1 minute.
I've got it ready to go, Jason.
All right. Take it.
I'll share it.
I didn't have it keyed up.
Okay, these numbers have increased a little bit. Can you make that a little bit bigger? Could you magnify a little bit?
Enhance.
These old eyes have a little bit.
Hold on.
Enhance.
There you go. That's really good. So we have several categories of people coming that are spending the night. There's some that have trailers or an RV. We have, I think, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 folks that have trailers or RVs. I'm talking travel trailers. And then we have 4 people with pickup trucks and a tent, and then a couple with a car and a tent, and then one person has a car and he's going to sleep in his car. And that happens to be Connor, who's going to be operating 6 meters, 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and 900 megahertz. So we'll get that high band, those high band bonus points for Connor's work there. Then you could see some of the other stations, and most of them will be able to operate all bands in HF. I'm also bringing a DXCC multi-band that runs 10 through 40. We can put that inverted V dipole up, and anybody that wants to operate is welcome to use that. So I have that open to anybody that wants to use it in the club. And of course, we're not going to be on the same band at the same time because we don't want to burn up everybody's S meters. So Jason, you still have the those discs. What do you call them?
Band Bs.
I'm sorry?
Bandies.
Bandies. And so what those are is they're different colors. And if you want to operate a band, you got to go get that and have that in hand so that the other people will know they're not supposed to be on that. You have to have that. And that way we'll control nobody burning out anybody else's radios. So we're going to operate on as many bands simultaneously as we can. Can you go to the next tab, the non-overnight? Just click it down below there. And these are folks that, and I have a few more on my updated list of folks that will be there. Some have equipment, some don't. And I know we'll all share our equipment and let folks in the club operate if they don't have equipment. I know Frank said you're going to operate your mobile rig. And some of these folks will actually be bringing in equipment, but I don't have them on the list, what equipment they're bringing. The next tab on the bottom. These are the folks that have offered to help that I have on my list. And if there's anybody else that wants to go on that list that I missed, just send me an email and I'll put you on the list. And if you have a preference of what you'd like to do to help, let me know. Otherwise, we'll assign you. And so when you're not operating on the air, because everybody can't be on the air at the same time, you can be assisting with other things. Then go to the bonus points. I covered most of it, but there's a summary of the bonus point information. And I'm not going to go over it again because we've discussed that. And let's go to the last one with the guests. I have Jim Spearing, a county supervisor, coming. I have the Daily Republic. I've got the response. It said waiting for the response at that point. I was able to talk to the managing editor. And so I'm preparing an outline for him. And I did get, at this point, it was an invite, but I actually made contact with the district troop leaders. So we'll have that going as well. I did invite Sergeant Castillo from OES to come out. And I've also invited our base support team commander, Steve Silen, and he said that he would come on Saturday. So we'll have a representative from Mars there too, the military auxiliary radio system.
Hey, Don, this is Bruce. Do we have a sign-in sheet or a logbook for all to capture the names of all these visitors when they show up?
Well, they'll come into the greeter booth. That would be a good place to do that. The Boy Scouts is where we're going to have a lot of people. And and if they're going to be involved, then they would be at the station where we use the get on the air. But a sign-in sheet is definitely a good idea, and I'll put one together.
Thank you.
Don?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I sent you a direct message in the chat below. Would you read it, please, just to yourself?
Oops, let's see, chat.
I'll also bring something up. This sounds simple, but I just want to make sure it's covered for everyone. If you plan to bring a radio and you want to set it up and you want to work whatever band, of course, if you're a tech, you can bring HF equipment and work HF because we're all encompassed underneath the Whiskey 6 VVR and we'll be an extra class for that weekend. So that's fantastic. But make sure you bring everything, right? So it might be a good idea to practice in your backyard or a local park. So you'll need a battery and cables and coax and a radio and an antenna and a way to put up an antenna in a field with no other trees or support. You have to be completely self-sufficient. And if you plan to bring a generator, I would also encourage you to bring some batteries because when you turn this generator on, you might make a lot of enemies. In other words, all of a sudden, everyone's HF noise floor could raise up to S9. And people are talking here. So just heads up on all that, right? I really do encourage a couple batteries.
I don't know why it's doubling.
We got you, Mike. You're 5'5". Anyways, I just wanted to let everyone know, please bring everything you need, practice, because it gets very hectic. It turns into a bunch of ants out there.
Yeah, good points. All good points, Jason. If anybody wants to practice CW, what the heck was that? Got it. If anybody wants to practice CW, I'll be doing CW at my where I'll be working. Also, we will have a layout. The trailers will be parked on the north side of the lot, and they'll be at a 45-degree angle pointing out. That was Bruce's suggestion, so that if there's a reason to leave an emergency, they'll be able to do so. Also, the manager we met with today, Jeff, entire lot, so there won't be a bunch of weeds and things up there. But be very careful. We don't want to start any brush fires. So everything's going to be mowed down. But please, safety is number one for what we're doing here. That's all I have for now. And if anybody has questions, feel free to contact me. I'm in the roster, or any of the other club officers or folks that are helping on any of these activities.
There was one thing we want to.
I think Ralph has a question.
Just a quick mention. I know the Girl Scouts have some programs to make them aware of ham radio, and they've got some programs in there. Have we thought about inviting any local Girl Scout troops to attend as well as the Boy Scout troops?
Well, I asked the district manager, I told him Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all Scouts are but if you know contacts, whether it be with the Girl Scouts or even at church groups where there's a youth group there that would like to come and learn. My learn for the club. Someone's got a mic on there. My vision for the club is, is that someday there'll be a youth club or VVRC, and we'll have a lot of youngsters learning ham radio, and we'll help them out, help them get licensed. The Scouts, certainly, I told them we could help them with their merit badges.
Okay. I don't know any personally in that area, but that's good idea. Thanks.
You bet.
So something I'll add in here too is, and I think all of our generators are fairly quiet, but Jeff lives there and he was saying, what time did he say he didn't really want any generator noise done? Was it 9?
Yeah, well, it's 9 o'clock if they're close to where he's living, because he lives on that property. But where I have the trailers positioned at the north fence, if the generators are behind the trailers, odds are, assuming they're using Honda's low noise type generators, we'll be okay. But I'll certainly be checking with him, and he has my phone number, and I'm going to bring a megaphone. So if there's a problem, you'll hear from me.
Yeah. So guys, when you're parking your trailers, remember, if you've got a generator, you're probably going to have to put the generator behind the trailer to be in line with what Jeff is hoping for, the guy who's running the place. He just does, they sleep there and they sleep with the windows open, he said. So he just want to hear, all night long.
At 9 o'clock, he said, if there's noisy generators, he'd like them off at 9 o'clock.
Right. And then the other thing is there's church on Sunday morning.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
We have outside church there, and it's the Hope Church, and they're going to be right by the galley, right by the kitchen. And they start rolling in around 9:30. And so what we're going to want to do is make sure that we have so I can't remember what we talked about done, but I think if we have cars there that need to be in a parking lot type of situation, I think we want to keep those out of that one area and keep them toward the back so that the church people on Sunday can come in and park where they need to park. They start rolling at about 9:30. Church starts at 10, and it goes to about 11:30 is what I think he said. So,
I thought it was over at 10:30. They started it a little earlier, but I could be wrong.
No, they start rolling in at 9:30. Church starts at 10, and okay. He said it ends at about 11:30. So they end when we end, but you're going to have some praising the Lord, some gospel music going on Sunday morning with the outside church. So the point being, you got to be a little respectful of that area. But when you're there between our helpers and me and Don, we'll have it all organized. But that is indeed going to happen.
Well, maybe we'll make some contacts way beyond the ionosphere.
Is there points for that?
Okay, is there a map? Is there a map showing where you want the trailers coordinated, so we're not just kind of showing up blind?
Yeah, there's only going to be 7 trailers, so those are all going to go in the back fence. Each from post to post, it's 8 feet. And we're going to try to make about 40 feet wide, roughly 30, maybe wider, for each trailer to center in there. And there's about 400 feet of fence. So you'll come around and eventually back in at a 45-degree angle to the fence.
Who will be parking everyone? Is that someone's job?
Yes, we'll be there to guide everybody in. I'll be there. I'll be there. And it's Kellen. Just so you know, it's super easy. Once you pull in, it'll be very obvious. We'll just swing you over there. It's not a problem. It's lots of room.
I'll get it anywhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I've got the tower sections that I'm going to be putting in. So are all the antennas going in the middle? I think one of the meetings we had said that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the it looks like a right triangle there, doesn't it? Except the hypotenuse is an arch. And so the trailers will be backed into the hypotenuse and at a 45-degree angle towards the road on the left.
Yeah.
Towards.
Yeah.
And so the antennas will go down here near the base of the triangle, anywhere in that area.
Close to the museum or close to Chadbourne?
Well, the trailers are going to be back to Chadbourne. So I would say the antennas can be anywhere between that road where the museum is, that road that goes on the base here where you're showing your cursor.
Yeah.
Anywhere from there up, you could put the antennas.
That whole space.
Yep.
And that thin black line station is the fence going around. Yeah.
Pardon me?
That's the fence. And that's what the trailers will be backing up into on a 45-degree angle.
Now, okay. And where does everyone park?
Okay, so that's where you are now. Well, this is an old picture. It doesn't really have it laid out properly. This is not what it looks like now. So, but it's where your mouse is. Go to your left, Jason.
Yeah.
Over there. It's all in this area, but it's all gravel and stuff now. That does not look like it right now.
But there's orange lines.
Oh boy.
And that show where they want people parking.
Yeah.
And you face into those orange lines and park about 3 to 6 feet apart is what they want for fire safety. And that's what will be giving direction to the people that are helping with parking.
Is there a lot of Army trucks around? Like this picture
it
you're
looks
showing?
like that. There's more than that now. But if you go down that road where you're facing.
Yeah, I think it's going to kick me to... Oh, it's working.
Yeah, keep going all the way down to that tree. See that tree down there?
Is there a planned route for like the coaxes since we're putting the antennas in the middle?
Well, the point is once we park the trailers there, nobody's driving. And so we'll be laying I don't know what antennas people are bringing.
I'm just thinking tripping hazards. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So we're not going to have any driving, and we'll have ribbon, colored ribbon on the antenna cables, and we have a safety officer.
Is someone bringing a lot of ribbon?
I'm going to bring it.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a good point. If all the antennas are here, potentially that's foot traffic. And I know my antenna makes a lot of choking and tripping.
Yeah, no, we'll have to have ribbon. You're right. That's where all the antennas are going to be out there in the open.
Or maybe even some caution tape. We'll just stake the area out with some I think I got Brian. You got caution tape. Where's BXP?
He just came in.
Is there a rough location or a determination of how long of coax we'll need?
Depends where you put your antenna, and we're going to have to. You can see what the layout is there. That hypotenuse is about 400 feet.
Right. But if I got an antenna that's in like the center lobe and I'm being parked by the house, I mean, that's like a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, we don't want to do more than 100 feet. We're not going to be able to get out.
Right.
You're not going to be parked by the house. You're going to be backed into that fence there.
That's
right.
just a scenario.
But what he's saying, though, is our antennas need to be... technically, our antennas need to be less than 80 feet away from operating station, because 80 feet away plus 20 feet up, once you go over 100 feet of coax.
There'll be so much room between the RVs, you may want to put it right next to your RV.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit more...
near the fence area, especially if you're going to be either on top of the RV or 20 feet up.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the trailer parking. What about the vehicles?
It doesn't reflect well on this photo. This is clearly old,
hey Frank,
it's where he's circling. There's tons of parking area there.
No, not for coming and going, for trucks that are going to be staying overnight.
No, that's in the triangular field above.
Yeah. Anybody staying overnight will be in that triangle.
Jason, stop sharing for a minute.
Okay.
Let me share.
That looks good.
I have
that was Bert. Nice job, Bert.
Excellent.
What the heck is it?
Tried.
there
I
it is.
tried.
Fantastic.
Is that a more current picture?
Yes, that's a little better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yep, that's better. It's still not exactly the way it is, but that's better. So,
Yeah.
so to the left there, that were the, yeah. If you could go to, no.
Down, right there. Yeah, in that area, up a little bit. That's the area where they'd be parking.
Yeah, but it's nice and gravel. Yeah, it's nice. There's plenty of room for parking for just cars. But in the hypotenuse is where the trailers will go. That Bert was drawing those little lines on. That was perfect. That's how they were going to go.
And just to throw this out there as a question, do we want to consider putting antennas behind the trailers so they're close and out of the way?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Right?
That was
Along
my
the
hope.
fence line.
Because if you bring all the trailers in a little bit to the circle, everyone drops their antenna directly behind their RV. Short coax, no tripping hazards.
Well, I really was gonna arrange the trailers to be parallel to the fence because we had enough room for most of them there. But we had some discussion, and the reason for the 45-degree angle is if for any reason we have to get out there in an emergency, it's better to have them 45 degrees to the fence so they can drive out. That said, we don't have to back them all the way to the fence. Now, in my case, it's not a problem. I'm going to have a Tar Heel antenna on the back of the trailer, so it's going to be up above the fence, vertical, and there won't be any coax anywhere bothering anybody.
Well, okay, but Don, you do remember how last year looked, right?
We're not going to have a beam antenna, no Yaggies this time, but we will have some inverted V dipoles, I think. And
isn't Brian bringing his 6-meter Yagi he just picked up? And then I have a rotatable 20-meter to 10 Delta loop that's like 22 feet wide by 20 feet tall.
Well, maybe we ought to come out there. Maybe we can meet out there next week, and we can establish the positioning that you guys feel comfortable will work.
Well, what if we go perpendicular? If everyone backs up, right? So if the fence is a flat line, what if everyone goes perpendicular, and then you drop your antenna behind your rig? And then so the field, so essentially all the RVs are stacked up perpendicular in that field, like that. Thank you, Bert. You're on it. Something like that, and then you give a bunch of buffer behind you, so that pulls up the RVs closer to the front, where I would only assume people would be socially gathering around the RVs and not walking through a massive antenna field with coax.
I like that.
I think that's a good idea too. It makes it easier to set the antenna. It's just if you're doing inverted V's, how do you do that though? I mean, how much? I guess if there's enough space between the trailers. Yeah.
Now, it seems to me it'll be real awkward having the antennas behind the trailers, other than a vertical. But
why?
If you think it'll work,
yeah,
certainly willing to try it.
Why?
Well, inverted V, you can use the fence as a tie-off point at the bottom. And then you just need a pole for the RV itself for the top.
That's true.
And another thing, too, you really don't want to put all these antennas close to each other.
Right.
So as you want to spread them as far apart as possible, because 20 will get into 40, vice versa, when they're sitting there right there cranking 100 watts.
Yep.
So if they're all lined up front, that's just it could be very challenging.
Well, that might be a reason not to have them all behind the trailers then, because they'll all be pointing at each other.
Right, but behind the trailers is a larger surface area than in front of the trailers. Do you see what I mean? That back fence is the longest portion of that field.
Okay, here's what I'm going to suggest, because I don't think we can do it on a Zoom meeting. I would like everybody that's going to be putting up an antenna external to their trailer, that we set up a site visit before field day. That way we everybody feels comfortable. To me, it sounds too much of a gray area here. We're not getting real clear definition of where things will fit. So anybody that has an antenna that's going to take up considerable space, I would like to have you join me at the site, and we'll meet and we'll talk about it.
When would that be?
I'm flexible, and everybody's got work schedules. I get it, and we can meet after work because we have daylight till 8:30 or 9, and we're right here near the summer solstice. So whatever is convenient for you guys, just let me know, and we'll set up a meeting, and we'll go down there and get this worked out. For my trailer, it's not going to be an issue because I've got the Tar Heel. It's straight up. But there will be an issue with some other folks from what I'm hearing here. So we need to square it away. And I don't think just talking about it is a good way to do it. I'd rather be on site and do it. Is that okay?
Sure.
I don't know if I'll be available, but I don't have a trailer. My setup is fairly easy.
Okay. Well, Kellen, if you want to meet, just let me know, and I will come down there. And anybody else that wants to join us is welcome.
If we had a physical dimension of the field, we could easily just place everyone there.
I do have all that. So Bruce and I went down there, and we have the dimensions.
Yeah, so that could definitely be designed by, whomever, and then everyone is just kind of instructed where to go. Otherwise, everyone's going to go there and pick the best spot for them. It's going to be so hard.
That's right.
Okay, let's bring this down to the brass tacks. How many people are going to be putting up antennas that are going to take up considerable space? Who I got Kellen as one. Who else?
My vertical will have a 25-foot diameter of radials, so I was concerned about tripping hazard.
Yeah, that's in your spreadsheet, right? You collected that information on recent nets.
Yeah, but I think those folks that are going to take up that space, we need to talk about where they're going to be.
I'm going to put up, this is Bruce, I'm going to put up a little vertical and then a long wire. It's called an inverted L. It goes up and then it goes across. It's 27 feet tall and 27 feet across. But I'm bringing all my own poles.
Will the kitchen be in this general parking area, or is the kitchen across the road or street here?
You see the when you pull off of Chadbourne, you come down the road, go through the gate, and there's that corner.
Yeah.
Toward the house. It's basically going to be, if you go around the corner, it's going to be right there in the field area where.
Okay, right in the corner.
Right next to the road.
Because if you just bring all the trailers as close to the road to possible, so you still have a nice general area, and then that gives you a whole fanned out section to set up antennas. That should be plenty of room. Again, we're parking perpendicular to that back fence, and you just fan it all out there. Should give you lots of room, and then all the antennas are away.
Yeah, that's what I think. But I think because there's concern, we ought to go down and physically look at the site, and folks we ought to talk about it with the people that are putting up antennas that are going to take some kind of extra space. And we have 2 weeks. We could schedule a time over the next 2 weeks. It could be on the weekend, it could be in the evening. We have a lot of daylight. I'd say let's try to plan it out right so that when we get there, we're not saying, oops, I didn't notice that in the drawing. I'd rather look at the physical space. That's just my preference.
And we need to give, this is Bruce, we need to give the people with tents, cars, and pickup trucks a place to camp with plenty of space too.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Has anybody considered how the RF from our signals is going to affect the Sunday go to meeting church our PA system?
Oh.
We have
You giggle, but
and hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah. No, very well could.
Yeah.
Very well could.
We won't know that till we start transmitting. Hit that PTT.
Well, if anybody brings a 1.5 kW amplifier, that's going to really. I'm kidding. Yeah, that could be a problem.
And if the guy in that residence has touch lights, he's going to hate us.
We're going to hate him.
We didn't know that was going to. We were only told about this today.
A few hours ago.
Yeah. If I hadn't gone down and we hadn't made a second visit, that never would have come up.
Well, you might consider, just on the outside chance that this could happen, that you try to keep the antennas away from being broadside to where that church is at. Because the broadside is going to put out the most RF radiation in that direction.
Well, the church is right on the corner of the road that comes in and turns toward the house. It's right on that corner.
In previous years, people are kind of wrapping it up come Sunday morning. There's not a whole lot of transmissions.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
I agree. And if Frank is correct that the church service starts at 10, we're right near the end anyway.
Yeah, that's great.
And if we have to slow it down, then so be it. So let me know, those of you that have antennas that are going to take considerable space, if you want to plan that out in advance, I'm available. And I'll go down there, we'll get you in, and we can lay it out if that's a concern.
There any like banners or whatever for the VVR club like gonna be out in this, like behind the fence for passerbyers that are on the street or anything like that, or is it only gonna be here when they come in?
It's probably there, Bert. We have one banner, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, I was thinking that's where we would put it.
Okay.
So just so you know, too, along that fence line, there's another banner already up there, a big one. I'm not sure what it says. And there's also a truck parked back there that has a huge sign about the museum. So our banner would be competing with those two other banners as well for, you know, I don't know, recognition.
Probably just have some.
Sounds like we just go over them.
Streamers. Put some streamers up with all our antennas from way up high.
Yeah.
If anybody wants
to
make some additional signs, we could probably attach them somehow to those big signs and not cover the signs up, but extend them from one to the other. But at this point, I think the one banner we have should be sufficient. We've never gone nuts with all that kind of advertising and banners before, but we certainly could if someone wants to take that on.
We have one banner.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay, that's all I've got. Has anybody heard from Mike, the geek, EEK?
He's gone.
Yeah, he's painting his house these days.
Wasn't he on the net Tuesday night?
No,
he wasn't there. I spoke to him today. He's just trying to get his house in order out there. He made it. I think it took him about 4 days to get out to Arkansas.
Wow. Okay. Thanks.
I know we'll hear from him. He'll get that node up and running again.
I think that's probably one of the first things he did was get his all-star nodes up before he even started painting.
I thought I heard him on Tuesday night, but I could be wrong.
He was connected to W6VVR for a little bit. I think he's still sorting his radios and stuff like that out there. But yeah, he's definitely connecting already.
And I talked to Kevin about the All-Star connections and the Echolink. I tried Echolink. That didn't work. There's something wrong up there, and hopefully those guys are going up there to fix it today or this weekend.
Hey, Don.
Yes.
Hey, just something you guys should also consider for field day is some type of a, informal security or watch kind of overnight. That neck of the woods is often traveled by our local catalytic converter thieves and equipment people that like to steal construction equipment and whatnot. So if everything, if everybody closes down at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and there's a whole bunch of generators and equipment out, there will be people that will come through the fence and snatch it.
Should we be worried about our antennas in the air?
That stuff.
Well, maybe we could, let's see, is that county or is that city? I got to think here.
That's county.
A pea shooter don't care where it's at.
Yeah, can we bring?
No, but I'm thinking maybe we could ask for some assistance from the sheriff's office.
Protected by Smith and Wesson.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to come after our antennas and pop-ups?
They're stealing our generator.
No, I think they're, the antennas, they probably won't know, what the hell that is, but, there hasn't been a whole lot of copper theft lately, but generators, equipment that looks like, electronics and power tools, and then catalytic converters, so you guys got a bunch of Toyota pickup trucks parked out there. The Sawzall.
Well, isn't there a gate on the driveway?
There's a gate.
Yeah, we can close the gate at night.
There's a gate, but there's this wonderful substance called methamphetamine, and gates suddenly become not a problem for those guys.
They got superpowers.
Gates.
How much would it cost for a security guard?
Chain your generator.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think you guys need to worry about a security guard. If you guys just make sure there's somebody kind of up and mindful, then you're probably good.
Well, all right. So I'm sure we have an elderly gentleman that will be up at 5, and I can probably stay up till like 1 or 2 in the morning. So that really only leaves a very small window.
Yeah, but will you be looking outside, or you be in the nice warm heat of the trailer?
No, I'll be at my table working stations.
Yeah.
That's what coffee's for.
Yeah.
You usually get people up all night working.
Well, if it's a windy, chilly, last year, Saturday night got so cold, I
got brisk.
I did go inside an RV. But hopefully it won't be that chilly.
See.
Will, do you think there's any off-duty police officers or sheriff's officers that might come over and help us?
I would imagine it would be rather windy out there too.
I'll be in Missouri.
Believe it or not, they're calling for a little afternoon rain on Saturday.
How can they know that far ahead? They don't know.
85 degrees in an afternoon and only 60 at night.
And they make my food correct every time at McDonald's.
Cloudy is kind of nice. It's only going to be in the 80s.
Yeah.
I want to know what the wind's going to be. That's all I'm caring about.
The wind is what's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a wind tunnel right there.
Yeah, it was windy here the last couple of days.
Well, I'm going to be in the sheriff's office on Wednesday. I'm going to ask them if they could patrol a little more closely for us. And I'll talk to the manager, Jeff, and ask him what he does about security over there, too.
He says, I just
he drives around with that tank, man. Just fires up the tank and does a stroll around it.
That's a possibility. We could fire up one of those tanks. A Gatling gun.
Yeah,
run over all your coaxes.
Put everybody on a 50 cal on top of one of the tanks.
There you go.
Deuce time.
All right, so security might be an issue. We have to deal with it. Thank you for bringing that up, Will.
Slingshots.
I got the
like
barbarians.
Better.
Bear traps.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, here's a funny story. He says that last year there were all these ground squirrels. He shot with his 22. He shot 1,400 ground squirrels last year in that area, and this year they've shot about 300. They keep coming back. Yeah.
Could we do a stew?
So are you saying I could bring my 22 to shoot some ground squirrels when I'm
That's
not?
what I'm hearing right now.
Oh, you
I'm
know,
strapped.
we don't want squirrels getting trailer.
We got like 11 QSOs and 42 squirrels.
You don't want them chewing.
Got squirrel patty melts for lunch today, guys.
I think we're drifting pretty far away here.
Yeah, we're having squirrel melt.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to everybody next week.
What's that?
We'll talk to everybody next Tuesday on the net.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to food guys and helpers. So probably on Monday.
Okay.
Don, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know people are discussing putting the antennas behind the trailers and sort of against that hypotenuse of the property there. If we could all agree on sort of an easement for antennas along that hypotenuse, I can model it in CAD against a map that would be to scale if you send me your Excel file for the trailer sizes, just to give somebody some ideas on layout. And it would be roughly 1-to-1 based on the information provided.
I can not only do that, I can send you, Bruce was kind enough to draw a scale drawing on some grid paper of the area. So you could actually put some dimensions to it on your CAD drawing.
Okay, that'd be great. I can get it done Sunday and distribute it if you want to forward it to everybody.
That'd be cool.
Okay, Dan, I'll send you my latest spreadsheet with what I've got, and then we may have to call and contact the guys for more detailed information. But I got to believe if you're talking a trailer pulled by a truck or an SUV, you're talking about 45 feet in length, and an average trailer is about 8 foot wide. And then, of course, you have your awning and your slide outs and things.
Are people staying connected, their truck and trailer?
I would think so.
No.
Because that would buy us a lot of room if you would drop your trailer like you do normally at a campsite and put your truck,
elsewhere.
That would buy up 18 to 20 feet each.
Plenty of room
out there.
Plenty of room?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of room.
It's the gravel parking lot.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have. I actually thought we were going to have about 12 to 15 trailers, but it turns out we only have 7. And then and then we have the what is it, 5 cars or pickup trucks. So we really aren't. This is a very big lot. So we could certainly detach the cars. That's not a problem. But whether we have to remove them from there, I don't know. But we could.
What if we were to put the antennas behind the trailers and against the hypotenuse of the property line? What kind of easement can we expect? What's our footprint of our largest antenna back there?
I don't know. You guys have to tell. We'll have to. I don't know because I'm not really familiar with the footprints of these antennas.
So every antenna you should give 25 feet in diameter. So
I've got kind of an idea for Dan. If we do one trailer with the antenna behind and the next trailer with the antenna in front of the trailer, you make a zigzag fence behind, in front of the trailer, next fence again. So you skip one trailer. So yeah, that doubles the space between antennas. So you go one behind the trailer, one in front, one behind the trailer, one in front, one behind, one in front. And it'll kind of make a zigzag thing along that fence.
Okay.
And then it'll increase the space to about 90 feet. I'm just working it out in my head, between the rear bumper of the neighbor next to you and the front bumper of yourself. You'll have about 90 feet spread.
I'll email you a copy of the drawing that Bruce put together.
Okay, that sounds great.
And then you'll have, I'll send you the spreadsheet, the latest spreadsheet with who's going to be there with what.
Okay.
That sounds great. I think the drawing was 10 feet for each 1/8 of an inch, something like that.
I have to go look at it again.
Yeah, so anyhow.
Yeah, I can model up a couple configurations pretty fast and send it off Sunday.
Yeah, I'll send it out to you tomorrow.
Okay.
What about
your email's on the roster, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are you thinking of having everybody back up to the fence?
That's what everybody's suggesting. The back of the trailer would be to the fence.
Because then if you have it like that, then the sun's probably going to be on you from the door side of your trailer then like the whole day. If you had it, if you went straight in, then or it would be on the shade part of the sun most of the day then.
Good point. We're just worried about being able to get out if there was an emergency or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only problem then. But
good point.
Well, a lot of the trailers have awnings, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to bring 10 by 10 pop-ups for where they're going to be sitting. But it does help.
Bring sunscreen too.
Yeah, and then you can sit in front of the RV too. Set up the pop up there.
Right.
Yeah, well, the sun starts and we're actually, the trailers will be almost north-south. So the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west. So it'll be on both sides of the trailer.
Yeah, it'll be on the one side in the morning and the other side in the afternoon.
Right. And the trailers will be providing shade as well. Because they'll be fairly close to each other.
Probably blocking wind as well too.
That's right. That's a good point.
I was wondering if you can stagger to give more room. One trailer and then one tent person, and then another trailer and then a tent person. Do we have about the same trailers as opposed to tents and pickups?
Yeah, let me look. We've got
space them all out so it doubles.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was actually intending to stay between a couple trailers there to get a windbreak myself. My tent.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you got 7 trailers and 6 tents.
Hey, that's perfect. Trailer tent, trailer tent, trailer tent, trailer tent, trailer.
Greg, you don't mind a little RF exposure, do you?
As long as it's warm, man. I don't have a heater out there in my tent.
Yeah, the guys in the tents could stay in the shade of the trailer, and the guys in the trailer can come out and BS with the guys in the tents.
That's a good. I like that, separating them. Put the tents in between. That's a good idea.
Share generators too.
Uh-huh.
An RV guy can share his generator with a tent guy.
Yeah, you keep those generators away from the solar guys.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to run solar. Me too, solar.
Guys in the tents can be partly security at that point.
And the porta potties ordered, right? We're going to have a porta potty?
Yeah, they actually tried delivering it May 25th instead of June 25th. But they figured it out.
Yeah, we got a porta potty.
Yeah, we have a handicap porta potty like we had at field day at the swap meet.
Okay.
Awesome.
And it's already paid for, so there's no one needs to be there with a check when it shows up.
I'm assuming it's still bring your own toilet paper, though, right?
Wouldn't hurt.
I got lots of
TP
money.
Oh, there's usually more than enough TP in there for 2 days.
That brings up an interesting point. The guys that do the porta potties, could they handle us dumping into a septic or something?
No.
Yeah, they take it away and they clean it out. They suck it out and everything.
Don, don't you have a clean out at your house? I dumped my trailer right down my sewer clean out. I'm paying for it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, but I'm not close enough to it right now for access.
Ah,
Don't you have
a
sewer
friend?
septic, Don?
Yeah, I'm on septic, but I don't have. I'll have to have right now where my trailer's parked. I have to have like a 40 or 50 foot hose.
Just go dump it at Kevin's. He's moving.
You know what you should look at is they also sell macerators. It's like a little pump and a unit that fits on the exhaust on the output of your pipe, and you just use a garden hose.
Who wants a chocolate milkshake?
Yep, there you go. It's a blender.
All right, I'm leaving. I'm gonna get this
This topic's getting crappy. Okay.
No pun intended, but we've hit bottom. No pun intended, but we've hit bottom. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Don, did you get my message?
Thank you.
Did you get my message, Don?
Yeah.